I still remember the exact second my phone vibrated. Not because of the goal everyone around me was celebrating, not because 60,000 people were screaming, but because the message simply said, "Dude, I think your wife just disappeared into the stadium restroom with another guy." At first I laughed, actually laughed. I turned to my friend Ryan and held up the phone. "Nice try." He did not smile. "I am serious." I stared at him. "What are you talking about?" I wish I was joking. The stadium erupted again as our team nearly scored. Everyone around us was on their feet. Beer flew through the air. Strangers hugged each other. Meanwhile, I felt like someone had turned all the sound off. Ryan leaned closer. I went to grab another drink. I saw Emily walking with some guy in a black jersey. So, they were not looking for seats. They probably got lost. They went toward the restrooms. I rolled my eyes. She's been bored all day. Maybe she's looking for the women's restroom. Ryan hesitated. I thought that too. He swallowed, but she did not go into the women's. That sentence hit differently. I immediately stood up. "What do you mean?" "I mean," she followed him into the family restroom. The world suddenly felt smaller. Emily hated football. She had hated it since the day we met. Every season she would complain. "You love 22 grown men chasing a ball more than me." Every single home game she would ask if she could stay home. And every single time I would convince her to come anyway. "I promise it will be fun. It will only be a few hours. I will buy you your favorite food." She always gave in eventually. Looking back, I think she stopped arguing months before that game, not because she suddenly liked football, because she would found another way to entertain herself. I did not know that yet. I just knew something felt wrong. Ryan grabbed my arm. "Do not go over there angry." "I am not angry." "You look like you are about to kill somebody." "I am going to prove you are wrong." I actually believed that. I wanted him to be wrong more than anything. Emily was not perfect. She complained. She could be sarcastic. She loved making little comments in front of friends that embarrassed me. But cheating, not her. At least that's what I kept telling myself as I walked down the concrete hallway beneath the stands. The cheering above echoed through the tunnels. People passed carrying drinks and popcorn. Everything looked completely normal, except my heartbeat. I reached the family restroom. The door was locked. I stood there, 1 minute, then 2, then 3. An older janitor pushing a cleaning cart slowed down beside me. "You waiting for someone?" "My wife." He looked at the occupied sign. His expression changed. "Oh, what?" He looked away. "Nothing. Number what?" He sighed like someone who had already decided he should not get involved. "I have worked this stadium for 11 years. Okay, I notice people." I felt my stomach tighten. He lowered his voice. "The couple in there." I interrupted him. "That's not a couple." He looked directly into my eyes. "I hope you are right." Then, before I could ask another question, the lock clicked. The door opened so slowly it almost felt intentional. First, a guy I had never seen before stepped out. Black home jersey, expensive watch, fresh beer in one hand, phone in the other. He stopped the second he saw me standing there. For half a heartbeat, neither of us spoke. Then he looked over his shoulder. "You coming?" My stomach dropped. Emily appeared behind him. Her hair was not messy. Her clothes looked perfectly normal. If someone had walked by, they would have thought they had simply been waiting in line together, but her face. I would have been married to her for 6 years. I knew every expression she had, and that was not embarrassment, that was panic. "What are you doing here?" She blurted. I almost laughed. "What am I doing here?" The guy looked between us. "Oh," Emily immediately stepped in front of him. "It's not what you think." I had not even accused her of anything yet, not one word. She was already defending herself. Ryan had always told me something. People do not explain themselves before being accused unless they already know they are guilty. I looked at the stranger. "Do you know my wife?" He frowned. "Your wife." Emily interrupted before he could answer. "We just met." He slowly turned toward her. "We, what?" She shot him a look that practically begged him to stay quiet. "We bumped into each other," she said quickly. He asked where section 118 was. I looked at the giant sign hanging above us. Section 118, 20 feet away. I pointed at it. He needed directions. She did not even look. "Yeah." The stranger scratched the back of his neck. Emily cut him off again. "I was just helping him." The janitor quietly pushed his cart away. He did not want to witness whatever was about to happen. I could not blame him. I took one slow breath. "So both of you needed the family restroom?" Neither answered. The silence lasted maybe 3 seconds. It felt like 3 hours. Finally, the guy spoke. "Look, man." Emily whipped around. "Do not." He ignored her. I did not know she was married. Every sound inside the stadium disappeared. Not literally, mentally, like someone had pressed mute on the world. I stared at him. "What?" He rubbed his forehead. "She told me she came here alone." Emily's eyes widened. "Stop talking." "I did not know." "Seriously, shut up." He looked genuinely confused. "I do not even know your name." I felt my knees weaken. The guy was not acting like someone caught cheating. He looked like someone who had just realized he would been lied to too. I looked at Emily. She crossed her arms. "So you're just going to believe some random guy?" I blinked. "What? You do not trust your own wife?" There it was, the first attempt to make me feel guilty. I knew that tone. Every argument we would ever had somehow ended with me apologizing, even when I had not done anything wrong. You embarrassed me, she snapped loudly. People walking past started slowing down. You seriously followed me to the bathroom. I came because Ryan said, "Oh, Ryan." Laughed sarcastically. Of course, he's always hated me. Ryan had barely spoken to her in years, mostly because she constantly made passive-aggressive comments about him. Still, she said it with such confidence that for a split second I almost questioned myself. Then the stranger quietly pulled out his phone. He looked at me. I think. He swallowed. You should probably see what she sent me before we met. Emily lunged toward him. Do not you dare. He took one step back. I did not know you were married. Then he unlocked his phone, and the first photo on the screen made my entire world stop. I wish I could tell you the photo was blurry, that it could have been anyone, that there was some misunderstanding. There was not. The selfie filled the screen. Emily was smiling into the camera. She had taken it only 20 minutes earlier. I recognized the jersey she was wearing because I would bought it for her last Christmas after she joked. Maybe if I dress like a real fan, I will stop hating football. At the time, I thought she would been trying. Now I realized she would just needed something to wear. Under the picture was a message. Cannot wait to get away from my husband for a bit. Then another. Meet me by the family restroom after halftime. The timestamp matched exactly. I could not breathe. I handed the phone back without saying a word. Emily immediately shook her head. I was joking. The guy stared at her. You called him your controlling roommate. I did not mean it like that. You literally said you only came because he forces you. She looked at me. I was trying to get rid of him. You invited him. I did not think he would actually come. The guy let out a nervous laugh. I drove almost 2 hours because you said you wanted to meet. That sentence hurt more than I expected. 2 hours. This was not spontaneous. This was not some drunk mistake. This had been planned, weeks, days. I had no idea. People continued walking past us, completely unaware that my marriage was falling apart 10 feet from the concession stand. Emily stepped closer. Can we please not do this here? I looked at her. Where would you prefer? At home. So you have more time to think of another story? Her face hardened. There you go. What? Making me the villain. I almost smiled. It was unbelievable. You invited another man to meet you during a game. I said I was sorry. You have not apologized. I do not owe him an apology, she snapped, pointing at the stranger. He blinked. I was not talking about me. She froze. For the first time since this started, she did not have an answer ready. The stranger sighed. Look, man, if I would known she was married, I would have walked away. I believe you. Emily turned toward me in disbelief. You believe him over your own wife? No. I shook my head slowly. I believe the screenshots. She folded her arms. So that's it. That's it. You are throwing away 6 years because of a few messages. I laughed, actually laughed. A few messages, she looked offended. You act like I ruined your life. Before I could answer, another voice came from behind us. Emily. She spun around so quickly I thought she would fall. A middle-aged woman wearing a stadium security badge stood there looking confused. Oh, there you are. Emily forced a smile. Hi, the woman frowned. I have been trying to find you. Why, you dropped your wallet near gate C. Emily instinctively reached for her purse. It's right here. The security guard blinked. Number, she pointed toward the stranger. He picked it up for you almost an hour ago. Nobody spoke. The guard kept talking. Asked me where you had gone because he had been looking for you since before kickoff. Before kickoff, not halftime, not 20 minutes ago, before the match had even started. Emily slowly closed her eyes, and in that exact moment, I realized this was not the first lie she would told me that day. I did not say another word. I just turned around and started walking. Seriously, Emily called after me. You are just leaving. I kept going. You do not even want to hear my side. That finally made me stop. I looked back. You have had 4 different sides in the last 5 minutes. She opened her mouth, closed it again. The stranger quietly handed her wallet back. I think I am gonna go. Emily grabbed his wrist. Wait, he pulled away immediately. No, you do not understand. I understand enough. He looked at me instead. I am sorry. Then he disappeared into the crowd. I never saw him again. At the time, I hated him looking back. He was probably the most honest person in that hallway. Emily caught up with me near the stairs leading back to the stands. Can we please not make a scene? I laughed under my breath. A scene. People are staring. You seemed fine with that 10 minutes ago. She lowered her voice. I made a mistake. Which one? What? The messages, the lies, meeting him, telling him you were single, calling me your controlling roommate, or pretending Ryan invented the whole thing. She rubbed her temples. I was overwhelmed. By football, she glared at me. You know I hate these stupid games. There it is. What? The football. I have told you for years I hate coming. So cheating was your solution? I did not say that. You did not have to. She sighed dramatically. You never listen. That sentence almost made me question reality. I do not listen. You always put football first. I stared at her. Emily, she kept going. Every other weekend it's football. You spend money on season tickets. You watch highlights every night. You talk about transfers during dinner. I feel invisible. People were squeezing past us to return to their seats for the second half. Nobody cared that my marriage was imploding. The stadium announcer echoed overhead. The match was restarting. Emily pointed toward the field. You could not skip one game for me. I looked at her in disbelief. We are standing here because you met another man during one. She looked away, silence, then almost quietly. I did not think you would find out. That was it, not I did not mean to hurt you, not I am sorry, not I love you, just I did not think you would find out. Those 6 words hurt more than every lie combined because they told me everything. This was not an accident, this was not impulse. Her only mistake was getting caught. Ryan found us before I could respond. He jogged down the steps, breathing heavily. There you are. He looked at my face, then at Emily's. I guess I was right. Emily rolled her eyes. Oh, congratulations. Ryan ignored her. You okay? I nodded automatically. I was not even close. Ryan reached into his pocket. I was not going to show you this. He hesitated. Unless things got bad. Emily's expression changed instantly. What is that? Ryan did not answer. Instead, he handed me his phone. I started recording after I texted you. I frowned. What? I figured if I was wrong, I would delete it. My thumb pressed play. The video began with shaky footage from across the concourse. There was Emily, standing exactly where the security guard said before kickoff. She was not lost. She was not looking for a restroom. She was not wandering around because she was bored. She was checking her phone every few seconds. Like she was waiting for someone. Then the man in the black jersey walked into frame. Emily saw him, and without a second of hesitation. She smiled, not the polite smile she gave strangers, not the fake smile she used around my coworkers. It was the smile she used to give me before we got married, before everything changed. Ryan quietly said, I do not think that's the worst part. I looked up. What do you mean? He took a slow breath. I kept recording after they disappeared. Then he reached into his gallery. There are 2 more videos. I did not press play immediately. For some reason, I was afraid of what I would see, not because I still believed Emily. That part of me had already died somewhere between the family restroom and the security guard. I was afraid I would find out this had been planned for much longer than one football game. Ryan quietly said, You do not have to watch it here. Emily immediately jumped in. Exactly. She stepped closer to me. Let's just go home. No. Reach for my phone, please. I took a step back. Do not. Her voice softened. It is not what it looks like. Ryan let out a dry laugh. You have not even seen the video yet, Emily. She froze. For the first time all afternoon, she looked genuinely scared. I hit play. The footage was shaky but clear enough. Ryan had been filming from the concession stand across the hallway. Emily stood exactly where we had just seen her in the first clip. She checked her phone, looked around, then smiled. The man in the black jersey walked over. They hugged, not awkwardly, not like strangers, like people who had already met before. My stomach twisted. Emily immediately pointed at the screen. That's just a hug. I ignored her. The guy handed her something, small, wrapped in white paper. She laughed, opened it. Inside was a silver bracelet. Ryan paused the video. I zoomed in later. He swiped to another frame. The bracelet had a tiny football charm hanging from it. I recognized it instantly. It was not random. Emily had shown me that exact bracelet on social media almost 3 months earlier. She would laughed and said, It's cute. I remember joking, I will buy it if you ever become a football fan. She would roll her eyes. I would rather die. Apparently, someone else had bought it instead. The video continued. Emily put the bracelet on immediately. Then she kissed the guy on the cheek, not quickly, not accidentally, comfortably, like she would done it before. I stopped the video. I could not watch anymore. Emily crossed her arms. So, it was just a bracelet. Ryan stared at her. Seriously, she looked directly at me. You know, gifts do not mean anything. I could not believe what I was hearing. You accepted jewelry from another man. It was not expensive. I actually laughed. That's your defense, she sighed dramatically. I was trying to be polite. Ryan shook his head. I have never seen anyone weaponize politeness before. Emily glared at him. Nobody asked you. No, he replied calmly. But somebody had to tell him the truth. I looked at Emily. When did you meet him? She answered instantly. Today. The speed of her reply told me she would rehearsed it. I looked back at Ryan. Second video. He unlocked his phone again. This one's shorter. He pressed play. The timestamp caught my eye first. 3 weeks earlier, different date, different match, different jersey, same stadium, same hallway, same man. Same smile. My heartbeat stopped. I slowly turned toward Emily. You have never even been to this stadium without me. Her lips parted. No sound came out. Ryan quietly said, I checked the date 3 times because I thought my phone had glitched. Emily suddenly grabbed my arm. I can explain. I pulled away. No, you do not understand. I understand more every minute. Tears finally appeared in her eyes, real tears, or at least convincing ones. I never wanted this to happen. I stared at her. How many games? She looked down, silence. Emily, still nothing. I asked again. How many football games have you been cheating on me? She whispered something so quietly I almost missed it. What? Her shoulders began shaking. Another pause. I do not know. Ryan slowly lowered his phone. Neither of us spoke because sometimes the worst answer is not a number. It's realizing there were so many betrayals that the person who committed them could not even count anymore. I did not ask another question, not because I had forgiven her, because I was not sure I wanted to hear the answer anymore. Ryan gently took his phone back. We should get out of here. Emily quickly nodded. Yes, let's just go home. I looked at her. Home, please, so you can tell me the version you have had time to rehearse. She flinched. I have already admitted I messed up. No, I shook my head. You admitted you got caught. There was a difference, a huge one. The match continued somewhere above us. The roar of the crowd echoed through the concrete tunnels. A goal had probably been scored. Ordinarily, I would have been celebrating. Instead, I realized something that made me sick. I could not remember a single minute of the game I would waited months to watch. Every memory from that afternoon had been replaced by lies. As we walked toward the exit, Emily stayed beside me. I will quit my job. I did not answer. I will delete every social media account. Silence. I will block everyone. Still nothing. Finally, she grabbed my sleeve. Say something. I stopped walking. What exactly do you want me to say? I do not know. Do you want me to thank you? No. Congratulate you? Stop. What? You are being cruel. I stared at her. Cruel. She looked away. You know I have anxiety. I blinked. There it was. The first attempt to redirect the conversation, not toward what she would done, toward how she felt. I have been under so much pressure lately. What pressure? You do not understand. Help me. She hesitated. Our marriage has not been good. I laughed quietly. That's your excuse? It's not an excuse. What is it then? She took a deep breath. I felt lonely. Ryan finally spoke. You were not lonely. Emily snapped toward him. You do not know anything. I know enough. You have always hated me. No. Ryan's voice stayed calm. I hated how you treated him. She rolled her eyes. Here we go. Ryan did not stop. You constantly mocked everything he enjoyed. You made fun of his friends. You complained every match, and somehow you still expected him to think you were the victim. Emily folded her arms. You have always been jealous. Ryan frowned. Jealous. You wanted him all to yourself. I actually laughed. Ryan looked horrified. Emily. She realized what she would just implied. That's not what I meant. You literally accused me of wanting your husband. I was angry. No, Ryan replied. You were desperate. We reached the parking lot. People were smiling, laughing, grilling outside their trucks. Families posed for photos in team jerseys. It felt like another universe. I unlocked the car. Emily instinctively walked toward the passenger door. Do not. She looked at me. What? I do not want to drive home with you. Her face went pale. What? You heard me. Ryan quietly tossed me his keys. I will take your car. I looked at him. You sure? He nodded. I have got this. Emily stepped closer. So, what am I supposed to do? I shrugged. I do not know. You cannot leave me here. You did not seem worried about that an hour ago. Tears started streaming down her face. I am your wife. The words hung in the air. I looked at her for several seconds before answering. Were you? Looked confused. I do not think my wife disappeared with another man before kickoff. Her lip trembled. You do not mean that. I opened the driver's door. I do not even know what I mean anymore. Before I could get inside, my phone rang. Unknown number. I almost ignored it. Ryan glanced at the screen. You should answer. I sighed and picked up. Hello. A man's voice came through immediately. Is this Mark? Yes. My name is Daniel. I did not recognize it, I think. He paused. I think my wife has been seeing your wife. I felt every muscle in my body lock. I am sorry. What? I just found your number in my wife's phone. My grip tightened around the phone, and judging by the messages, he took a shaky breath. I do not think the guy at the stadium was the only man involved. For a second, I thought I had misheard him. I looked at the phone like it had betrayed me too. Say that again. The man sighed. My name is Daniel. I heard that. I found your number in my wife's messages. My heart was pounding so hard I barely heard the people celebrating behind me. What messages? The ones between our wives. Emily froze. She could not hear Daniel, but she could hear me. She whispered, Who is that? I ignored her. Daniel continued. My wife confessed this morning. I frowned. This morning. She thought I already knew everything. What does that have to do with Emily? A long silence. Then he quietly answered, They have been covering for each other. I leaned against the car. What do you mean? When Emily told you she was having girls' nights. I closed my eyes. They were not. When my wife said she was spending weekends with Emily. They were not. Pieces of my marriage started rearranging themselves in my head. Every spa weekend, every wine tasting, every late birthday dinner, every girls' trip. Emily always came home with dozens of photos. Pictures of cocktails, hotel rooms, shopping bags, restaurants. I had never questioned them. Why would I now? I wondered how many of those pictures had been taken 5 minutes before meeting another man. Daniel spoke again. I do not think they were cheating together. What? I think they were protecting each other. How? If one disappeared, the other covered. If one stayed out late, the other lied. If one husband called, the other answered. I slowly remembered something. Last winter, I would called Emily around midnight. She had not answered. 10 minutes later, her friend Megan picked up. She's in the shower. I had not thought twice about it. Daniel interrupted my thoughts. My wife admitted they have been doing this for almost 2 years. 2 years, I almost dropped the phone. 2 years, not one mistake, not one bad decision. An entire system. Emily stepped closer. Who are you talking to? I held up one finger. She did not listen. Mark. Her voice became desperate. Please. I covered the microphone. Did Megan know? Emily's face changed instantly. She had not expected that question. What? Did Megan know? Why are you asking? Because that was an answer. Daniel quietly laughed. The silence usually tells you everything. You know Megan. Our wives became friends at work. When? Almost exactly 2 years ago. Of course, everything suddenly made sense. That was also when Emily stopped complaining about football. Before that, she would beg me not to buy tickets. Afterward, she encouraged me. You should go. You deserve it. Get season tickets. At the time, I thought she was finally supporting my hobby. Now I realized. Football had become her schedule. She always knew exactly where I would be, exactly how long I would be gone, exactly when I would be unreachable because of the noise inside the stadium. I was not attending matches anymore. I was giving her an alibi. Ryan had been listening quietly. What is it? I lowered the phone. I could not even believe the words myself. She wanted me to keep buying season tickets. Emily immediately shook her head. No, you started encouraging me because I knew you loved football. No, I looked directly into her eyes. You needed me distracted. Tears rolled down her cheeks. It was not like that. Daniel suddenly spoke again. Mark. Yeah. Have something else. My stomach tightened. What? I have screenshots. Of what? My wife backed everything up. He paused. I think your wife was seeing at least 3 different men. I felt my knees weaken before I could respond. Emily screamed from across the parking lot. Do not believe him. I slowly turned toward her. She was not looking at me. She was staring at my phone, like she already knew exactly what was inside those screenshots, and that terrified her more than losing me. Emily took 2 quick steps toward me. Hang up. I did not move. Mark, I am serious. Daniel heard her through the phone. That's her, is not it? Yeah, he sighed. My wife did the exact same thing. Emily reached for my wrist. I just want to explain. I pulled away. You have been explaining for the last hour. No, you have been twisting everything I say. I almost laughed. Twisting. She pointed at the phone. He's lying. Daniel answered before I could. Have never met your wife. Emily froze. I do not need to lie. Mark, Daniel continued. I am sending everything now. A second later, my phone buzzed. 1 file, then another, 23 screenshots, 9 photos, 4 short videos. Emily's face went white. Number. I had not opened anything yet. She already knew what was inside. That told me more than any screenshot could. Ryan quietly stepped beside me. You okay? No. Do you want me to look first? I shook my head. If this destroys me, I would rather it be me who sees it. The first screenshot loaded. A group chat. 3 members. Emily, Megan, someone saved only as L. The chat title made my stomach drop. Football widows. At first, I almost smiled. It sounded like a joke. Then I started reading. Emily, Mark bought tickets for Saturday. Megan, perfect. Daniel has poker. L. Mine thinks I am visiting my mom. Another message. Emily, same hotel. Megan, already booked. Below it, a selfie. The 3 women smiling in a hotel elevator. The timestamp, 7 months ago. Emily had told me she was at her cousin's baby shower. There was not any baby shower. There probably never had been. I kept scrolling. Every screenshot made the last one seem harmless. Restaurant reservations, hotel confirmations, photos of drinks with captions like, he still believes I am at yoga. Imagine if husbands compared calendars. Mine never asks questions. Then I found one message that made my hands shake. Megan, your football guy again? Emily answered almost immediately. Emily, no, Emily, different one this weekend. Ryan slowly looked up at me. Neither of us spoke because there was not anything left to say. Emily suddenly grabbed my phone. She was faster than I expected. No, she turned and tried to run. Ryan reacted instantly. Emily! She barely made it 5 steps before stumbling off the curb. The phone slipped from her hand and skidded across the asphalt. I picked it up. The screen had not even cracked. She burst into tears. Please delete them. I stared at her. What? The screenshots. You think that's the problem? If you read everything. Her voice broke. You will never forgive me. I looked her straight in the eyes. I do not think forgiveness has been on the table for a while. My phone buzzed again. Daniel, one new message. There's one thing I could not send in screenshots. I called him back immediately. What is it? He was quiet for several seconds. My wife said your wife always laughed about one thing. My stomach tightened. What? She said. He hesitated. Emily's favorite part was not cheating. I frowned. Then what was? His answer hit harder than anything I would read all day. She loved watching you. Thank her for coming to the matches. I could not breathe. Every home game flashed through my mind. Me buying her nachos because I appreciated the effort. Me kissing her forehead before kickoff. Me telling everyone she's not really into football, but she still comes because she loves spending time with me. Daniel spoke softly. I am sorry. I looked across the parking lot. Emily was not crying anymore. She was simply watching me like she knew the man who had driven her to every match had finally disappeared forever. I did not go home that night, not with Emily, not alone. Ryan drove because I could not trust myself behind the wheel. The entire ride, Emily kept calling. 23 missed calls, then came the messages. Please answer. We can fix this. I am outside our house. Then, if you do not come home, I will tell everyone you abandoned me. I stared at that last message for a long time. Ryan glanced over. What? I handed him the phone. He read it once, then quietly handed it back. She's still trying to control the story. That sentence stuck with me because he was right. Even now, she was not trying to save our marriage. She was trying to save her image. About an hour later, Daniel texted me an address. I am at a diner off Highway 18. If you want answers, come. Ryan looked at me. You sure? No, but I need to know how much of my life was real. Daniel looked exactly how I felt. Red eyes, untouched coffee, wedding ring still on. I wish we would met under different circumstances, he said. So do I. He slid a thick manila envelope across the table. I printed everything before confronting my wife. I frowned. You printed it. I did not want it disappearing. Smart, much smarter than I would have been. Inside were hotel invoices, screenshots, phone records, receipts, a timeline. Daniel had highlighted dates in yellow. Look at the weekends. I did. Every highlighted date matched one of my football matches. Not one, not two, nearly every home game for the last 18 months. I could not even process the number. There was something else, Daniel said quietly. I looked up. My wife admitted Emily was the one who came up with the system. What system? They called it. He swallowed. The schedule. I felt sick. What schedule? Daniel opened another page. There it was, a shared calendar, color-coded, blue, green, red. Each color had initials beside it. Emily's initials appeared again and again. Some dates had notes. Amarket Stadium. Safe until 10:30. Ryan usually attends too. I froze. Ryan, he was on their calendar. Daniel nodded. They tracked everyone. I looked closer. Another note made my blood run cold. Never use the house. Another. Family restroom is safest during halftime. Then another. Security changes at Gate C after the first half. This was not spontaneous. It was not reckless. It was not even emotional. It was organized, planned, repeated. My phone rang again. This time it was my father. I almost did not answer. Hey, his voice was unusually serious. Son, yeah. Emily's parents are at your house. I frowned. Why? They said Emily came home crying. Of course she did, and they are saying you publicly humiliated their daughter. Ryan looked at me. I put the phone on speaker. My father continued. Her mother says you are overreacting. I laughed. Actually laughed. Then my father said something I never expected. But her father. He paused, asked to speak to me privately. What did he say? He asked one question. I waited. He asked. My father took a slow breath. Whether this was finally the time you learned the truth. Every hair on my arm stood up. The truth about what? My father was silent. Then he answered. He said, this is not the first husband she's done this to. I honestly thought I had heard him wrong. I stood up so fast my chair nearly hit the floor. What did you just say? My father repeated it slowly. Emily's dad says, this is not the first husband she's done this to. Daniel looked up from across the booth. He could tell from my face that something had just changed. I thanked my dad and ended the call. Ryan frowned. What happened? I could not even process it myself. Emily's father wants to talk. 20 minutes later, we pulled into my driveway. Emily's SUV was parked outside. So were two cars I recognized immediately, her parents. Emily was pacing back and forth on the porch. The second she saw me, she ran over. Mark, please. I walked past her. She grabbed my arm. I have been waiting. I gently removed her hand. I know. Inside, the atmosphere was unbearable. Emily's mother stood up first. How could you embarrass her like this? I ignored the question. Instead, I looked at her father. He had not moved. He looked exhausted, older than I remembered. He quietly said, can we talk alone? Emily immediately shook her head. No, he looked at her. I am not asking. It was the first time I would ever heard him speak to her that way. We stepped into the garage. He closed the door behind us. For almost 30 seconds, neither of us spoke. Finally, he sighed. I owe you an apology. I frowned. For what? For not warning you. A knot formed in my stomach. What do you mean? He leaned against the workbench. When Emily was 24, he stopped. She was engaged. I blinked. What? To a man named Chris. Emily had always told me she would never been engaged. She said I was the only man she would ever wanted to marry. Another lie. He found messages. I stayed silent. He forgave her. I was not surprised. He caught her again. Still not surprised. Then he left. I slowly asked, why did not anyone tell me? His eyes filled with regret. Because she convinced everyone he had become abusive. My heart sank. Was he? No, he simply refused to stay. He reached into his jacket. I have carried this for years. He handed me a folded envelope. Inside was an old newspaper clipping, not a major article, just a local wedding announcement. The groom's name had been crossed out with black ink. Underneath, someone had written in blue pen, canceled 1 week before ceremony. I looked up. He kept the ring, Emily's father said. He told me something I will never forget. What? He said. His voice cracked. She does not cheat because she falls in love with someone else. I swallowed. Then why? He closed his eyes. She cheats because she likes knowing someone still believes she's faithful. Everything suddenly made sense. The lies, the manipulation, the fake tears, the gaslighting. Even football, it had never been about the men, it had never been about the stadium, it had been about control, about living two completely different lives at the same time. When we walked back inside, Emily stood up immediately. What did he tell you? I looked at her for a long moment, then I quietly took my wedding ring off. I placed it on the kitchen counter. She stared at it. Number, I finally understand. Tears streamed down her face. I will change. I shook my head. Do not think you even know how. Silence filled the room. Her mother started arguing. Her father stopped her with a single sentence. Enough. She looked at him in disbelief. He turned toward me. I am sorry for the daughter I raised. I nodded. I know. Our divorce was finalized 8 months later. Emily tried everything. She told friends I had become cold. She claimed I cared more about football than my marriage. Most people believed her until the screenshots surfaced. Daniel's wife confessed. Another man came forward, then another. The story she had carefully protected for years collapsed in a matter of weeks. As for me, I still go to football matches. The difference is that now, when someone asks why I am there alone, I smile. Because for a long time I thought football had cost me my marriage. It did not. Football was simply the reason I finally discovered I never really had the marriage I believed I did. The story has come to an end. Share, comment, and subscribe. It helps the channel grow.